And I think at that stage those moments of doubt just pop into your head. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Why am I not like the others? The royal family has been in crisis after Princess Beatrice walked away, leaving behind titles and traditions. A DNA revelation has exposed a truth no one ever imagined, casting doubt on her true paternity. The results point to a hidden past, one that challenges everything she believed about her lineage, leading her to cut all ties with her family. So, what does this mean for her future in the royal family? Join us as we delve into this shocking revelation that has pushed Princess Beatrice to make the most drastic decision of her life. Princess Beatrice of York. Princess Beatrice was born on the evening of August 8, 1988, at the Portland Hospital in London. She arrived into a world of royalty as the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York, becoming the fifth grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. From the very beginning, she was part of a close-knit royal family. Her christening took place in December that same year in the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace. Her godparents came from both noble and personal backgrounds, including her father's cousin and other family friends. Interestingly, her name was not revealed to the public until nearly 2 weeks after she was born. 2 years later, she became an older sister when Princess Eugenie was born. When Beatrice was 7, her parents separated. Their divorce was peaceful and both remained very involved in their daughters' lives. They agreed to share custody and both parents continued to raise Beatrice and Eugenie together. After the divorce, the Queen gave £1.4 million to create a trust fund for the two girls. The sisters often traveled abroad and their trips always included at least one parent. Their upbringing stayed active and loving, despite the change in their family structure. Beatrice began her schooling at Upton House School in Windsor in 1991. Later she attended Coworth Park School, followed by St. George's School in Ascot. Her education was shaped by a strong sense of discipline. At the age of 7, she was diagnosed with dyslexia. The reason why I am so passionate about dyslexia is because of being a dyslexic person myself. This diagnosis brought challenges, but she met them with determination. She delayed her GCSE exams by a year to better prepare. Over time, she gained confidence in her abilities and decided to share her struggles publicly in 2005. Hoping to help others, at St. George's, Beatrice earned solid grades. She received an A in drama, a B in history, and a B in film studies for her A levels. She was elected girl during her final year, which showed the respect she earned among her peers. She also sang in the school choir, which she enjoyed very much. Her 18th birthday was celebrated in a grand way with a masked ball at Windsor Castle. Her official portrait was taken by photographer Nikolai von Bis, capturing a key moment in her life as she stepped into adulthood. In 2008, she started studying history and the history of ideas at Goldsmiths University of London. It was a 3-year course that shaped her understanding of the world. She graduated in 2000 and with a good degree, a solid achievement that reflected her commitment to education. Beatrice didn't sit still after university. During the summer of 2008, she got her first taste of real-world work. She worked as a sales assistant at Selfridges, learning the basics of customer service. She also spent some time at the Foreign Office, though she wasn't paid. Around the same time, she looked into possible career opportunities with the Financial Times website, showing early interest in business and media. In 2009, she made a quiet appearance in the film The Young Victoria, which told the story of Queen Victoria's early reign. Was a small non-speaking part, but it marked her as the first royal family member to appear in a non-documentary film. She later worked as a paid intern at Sony Pictures, where she gained more experience. But after a major hacking scandal hit the company in 2014, she decided to resign from the position. It was a difficult time, but she handled the situation with grace. In 2015, Beatrice made a bold move and relocated to New York City. She began building her life outside of royal duties, taking on new challenges in the professional world. By 2017, she was holding a full-time job and splitting her time between London and New York. In her work life, she uses the name Beatrice York. She took on a leadership role at Affinity, a software company where she serves as vice president of partnerships and strategy. One of her key roles involves leading a program that supports women in leadership across global businesses through charity work and speaking events. She pushes that mission forward with passion and purpose. In 2022, news surfaced that she had lost her taxpayer-funded police protection back in 2011. This decision reportedly came after her uncle, now King Charles III, stepped in to reduce security expenses. Despite the change, Beatrice has kept moving forward, always balancing her royal background with a professional, independent life. She continues to grow, adapt, and inspire with every step. Personal life, titles, and traditions. In March 2019, Princess Beatrice appeared at a fundraising gala held at the National Portrait Gallery in London. She was not alone. Walking beside her was Edoardo Mosey, a man who came from a wealthy and noble background. He worked as a property developer and his name had already been known in elite circles. His father, Alex Mapelli, had once competed in the Olympics as an alpine skier for Italy. Though Italy no longer officially recognizes noble titles, the Mosey family had been awarded the title of Count back in 1913 by King Victor Emmanuel III. The title passed down through the male line, making Edoardo a count by birth. This title, though not officially acknowledged by the modern governments of Italy or the United Kingdom, still carried a sense of history and prestige within certain circles. By the time they attended the event together, it was believed that Beatrice and Edoardo had already been dating for several months. Relationship likely began around September 2018. They seemed comfortable in each other's company, and soon after they were seen attending the wedding of Lady Gabriella Windsor in May 2019. This marked an important moment. Attending a royal family wedding together indicated that their relationship was becoming more serious. That seriousness turned into commitments later that year. In September 2019, during a visit to Italy, Edoardo proposed, and on September 26 the engagement was officially announced by her father's office. Plans quickly began for a royal wedding. The ceremony was scheduled to take place in May 2020 at the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace, followed by a reception in the gardens of Buckingham Palace. However, the world was soon hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. First, the grand reception was cancelled, and later the wedding itself was postponed due to public health concerns. Eventually, Beatrice and Edoardo married in a much smaller and very private ceremony on July 17, 2020. The wedding took place at the Royal Chapel of All Saints in Windsor. Unlike many royal weddings, this one was not publicly announced beforehand due to great changes in circumstances. Her father, Prince Andrew, had become deeply involved in controversy due to his connections with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted criminal who later lost his life in prison. After a damaging television interview, Prince Andrew stepped back from royal duties, and this had a significant impact on Beatrice's wedding plans. Although he still walked her down the aisle, he was not included in the official photos released to the public. The once grand celebration became something much quieter and more intimate. For the ceremony, Beatrice wore a special dress. It was a vintage Norman Hartnell gown that had belonged to the Queen. It had been carefully altered for her, and it carried a strong connection to her family's legacy. She also wore the Queen Mary fringe tiara, the same tiara the Queen had worn at her own wedding. Beatrice stepped into a new role, not only as a wife but also as a stepmother. Her husband already had a son, Christopher Wolf, affectionately called Wolfie, from a previous relationship. In September 2021, Beatrice gave birth to her first biological child, a daughter named Sienna Elizabeth Mapelli Mosey. Sienna was born at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital in London. At the time of her birth, she was 11th in line to the British throne. After the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, 2022, Cotswolds, enjoying a quieter life in the countryside. In January 2025, Beatrice gave birth to her second daughter, Athena Elizabeth Rose Mapelli Mosey. The baby arrived several weeks early once again at Chelsea, and Westminster Hospital. Athena became 11th in line to the throne, following right behind her sister. What makes these children unique in the royal family is that unlike many of their cousins, Sienna and Athena are actually eligible for noble titles. This is not due to their royal mother, but instead through their father, as an Italian Count Edoardo passes on his title to his children. Means Sienna and Athena are both born with titles, either as countesses or as no donna, a traditional Italian noble rank. In contrast, neither Beatrice's children nor her sister Eugenie's children are entitled to British royal titles. Since they are not grandchildren of the monarch, they do not qualify for such titles under the rules of the British royal family. However, through their father's noble bloodline, Sienna and Athena still carry a unique heritage that ties them to European aristocracy. Meanwhile, a quiet whisper had begun to echo through royal circles, gaining strength with every words. Princess Beatrice's true paternity. It started small, just a murmur, an unconfirmed rumor, but it didn't take long for the story to grow into something far more serious. Soon it wasn't just idle gossip anymore, it was everywhere, stirring questions, raising eyebrows, and pulling the royal family into the center of a growing storm. At the heart of it all was a shocking claim. A DNA test had allegedly been conducted, and it revealed that one of Prince Andrew's daughters might not be his biological child. No one knew exactly where the story had come from. Some claimed it had leaked from a private document. Others pointed to a tip sent anonymously to a British tabloid. There was even talk that a private investigator had uncovered something years ago that was only now seeing the light of day. But the lack of a clear source only added to the mystery. The rumor took on a life of its own. It suggested that the test results didn't match what had always been believed. There was a discrepancy, a mismatch that couldn't be ignored. The test allegedly pointed to another man, someone without royal blood, possibly being the real father. If the claim had any truth to it, it wasn't just a personal issue for one family. It threatened to upset the very foundation of the royal lineage. Royal titles and privileges are usually passed down by birthright, and while biology isn't always the final rule in such matters, the emotional and symbolic weight is undeniable. Even if there was no legal change, the idea alone brought a heavy silence. The suggestion that one of the Queen's granddaughters might not truly carry royal blood was enough to rattle the institution from the inside. This wasn't the kind of scandal that could be solved with a statement or a photo opportunity. It was deeply personal, intensely private, and yet now completely public. For the daughter at the center of it, Princess Beatrice, the situation must have been unbearable. Known for her grace, kindness, and low profile, Eugenie had always kept a respectful distance from royal drama. But after the rumor spread, people noticed a shift in her. Reports from insiders began to surface. Some said she was devastated, that she had been blindsided by the news. Others claimed she felt deeply betrayed, even angry. It didn't help that around this time her relationship with Prince Andrew seemed to visibly change. In the past they had been close, frequently seen attending events together, often smiling in public. But now something was different. She was showing up alone or only with her husband Jack Brooksbank. Her father, once at her side, was no longer part of those moments. During one major public appearance, the distance between Beatrice and her father was impossible to ignore. There was no interaction, no shared smiles. They kept apart both physically and emotionally. Their body language spoke louder than any press release. And then came the subtle clues online. Beatrice stopped sharing posts related to her father. Her social media, once sprinkled with warm throwback photos, now
focused only on her child, her husband, and her charity work. The absence was telling. The silence around her father was no longer mild. It was deliberate. Some close to the family claimed she needed space, that she had started asking difficult questions a long time ago. But the DNA rumor became the final turning point. She didn't hold press conferences or issue public statements. She didn't argue or explain. But her actions were clear. Distance had replaced closeness. Silence had taken the place of affection. Meanwhile, Princess Eugenie stayed quieter. Unlike Beatrice, She kept a low profile throughout the entire storm. Some believe she chose to support their father quietly behind the scenes. Others say she simply didn't want to get involved. But regardless of their choices, both sisters found themselves caught in a storm they didn't create. And through it all, Buckingham Palace remained silent. There was no official word from the royal family. No denial, no explanation, just the same silence they had always used during scandals. The royal motto had always been to never complain and never explain. It had worked for generations, but the world had changed. People demanded answers now, and when they didn't get them, speculation only grew louder. But behind the scenes, insiders claimed there was panic. Public relations teams were scrambling to control the damage, that private meetings were taking place daily. Some said King Charles was furious that such a rumor had leaked, that Prince William wanted to shield the monarchy from further harm. On the other hand, Queen Camilla was trying to keep everyone calm. But how do you stay calm when a secret this big threatens to pull the foundation from beneath your feet? Royal experts suggested that the family hoped the story would fade, that if they stayed quiet long enough, people would forget. But silence is a dangerous strategy when the public is hungry for truth. Every unanswered question only deepened the mystery. And when no one speaks, the world fills in the blanks with its own version of the story. Now the rumor lives on. Not confirmed, not denied, but never truly gone. And in its place, a daughter's quiet rebellion has become the loudest sound in the palace halls. Whether the story is real or not, the damage is done. A bond has changed. A family has shifted. And the royal walls, once thought to be unshakable, now seem just a little more fragile. Because in the end, no matter how powerful a family may be, the truth has a way of finding light. And when it does, nothing, not even a crown, can stop it. But how did this all happen? The truth about the Duke and Duchess of York, Prince Andrew's relationship with Sarah Ferguson, began taking a serious turn in the night. Though the roots of their bond went back much further, they had known each other since childhood. Growing up in the same circles, they often crossed paths at high society events, like polo matches. For years they were simply acquaintances. But in 1985 at Royal Ascot, something shifted. They reconnected. From that moment, their relationship grew deeper and stronger. What began as a warm friendship soon became something more meaningful. Within a year, they were engaged on July 23, 1986. They were married in an extravagant royal ceremony held at Westminster Abbey. The wedding drew attention from around the world that day. Prince Andrew received new titles from Queen Elizabeth II. He became the Duke of York, Earl of Innes, and Baron Kille. These titles, once held by his grandfather and great-grandfather, tied him more firmly to the heritage of the royal family. In the early years of their marriage, things seemed happy and full of promise. They had two daughters, Beatrice and Unai, who became the center of their world. The couple often appeared in public with warm smiles and a united front. Their life looked perfect from the outside, but behind the scenes things started to shift. Prince Andrew's commitment to his naval career kept him away from home for long stretches. His constant traveling and the intense scrutiny from the press began to affect their relationship. Sarah, often left alone to raise their young children, found herself under growing pressure. By March 19, the couple publicly announced their separation. At the time, the split seemed respectful and without bitterness. Many believed there might still be hope for reconciliation. But that hope faded later. The same year, when private photographs of Sarah and her financial advisor John Bryan were splashed across the newspapers, the images caused a major scandal and left the royal family embarrassed. Although Sarah explained that Bryan was only helping her with financial matters and Andrew chose to believe her, the damage had already been done. The public judgment was unforgiving. Their divorce was finalized on May 30, 1996. Still, even after their marriage officially ended, Andrew continued to speak kindly about Sarah. Their shared devotion to their daughters helped them remain close. They didn't just co-parent, they continued to live together. Their home, Sunning Hill Park, located near Windsor Great Park, had been specially built for them in 1990. It was a modern, sprawling estate that allowed them to raise their children in a peaceful and private environment. They stayed there together for several years trying to give their daughters a stable life. Despite the divorce, in 2000 moved out of Sunning Hill Park and into the Royal Lodge, a historic and elegant residence that had once been home to the late Queen Mother. The Royal Lodge held a deep emotional significance for the royal family. Queen Elizabeth II had spent parts of her childhood there, and it carried with it a sense of history and tradition. Sarah moved to Dolphin House in Inglefield Green, which was not far from Andrew's new residence. This allowed the family to remain close and maintain a routine. However, in 2008, a fire broke out at Dolphin House. Sarah was forced to leave and moved back into the Royal Lodge with Andrew. It was an unusual situation for a divorced couple, but it reflected the strength of their bond. Even though their romantic relationship had ended years earlier, they still leaned on each other for support. Living under the same roof again brought them closer as parents and friends. Daughters continued to have both parents actively involved in their lives, and the family presented a united front. But their peaceful life soon faced another kind of pressure. The Royal Lodge, while beautiful and historic, came with enormous costs. Prince Andrew held a unique lease on the property. Rare agreement, he paid a one-time fee of $1 million and committed to spending another $7.5 million on renovations and upkeep. This lease gave him the right to live there for 75 years, as long as he covered all maintenance and financial responsibilities. The property itself is outside the secure boundaries of Windsor Castle, so it requires its own round-the-clock security. That alone costs a great deal. Add to that the ongoing maintenance of the house and its grounds, and the expenses rise even higher. Unfortunately, Prince Andrew no longer holds any official royal duties. In payment he used to receive from the late Queen, about £249,000, was stopped. Without that income and with no public role to generate funds, the financial pressure on him grew heavier. Now the security and upkeep of the Royal Lodge falls squarely on his shoulders. If he is unable to meet these responsibilities, the lease may not be enough to keep him there. The Crown Estate, which technically owns the property, could intervene if the costs are not being properly handled. So far nothing official has happened, but time is moving fast, and the future of Prince Andrew's residence at the Royal Lodge remains unknown. Every month brings new challenges. The house may be filled with memories and tradition, but even history cannot shield it from the weight of present-day problems. Princess Beatrice's role within the monarchy. Princess Beatrice, though a member of the British royal family, and closely related to the key figures, King Charles being her uncle and Prince William her cousin, has often remained in the background. Unlike some of her more widely recognized relatives, she has not taken a central role in the monarchy's public life. However, things have started to shift, especially with Prince William taking a more active leadership position. He understands that the royal family must evolve in order to survive, and including cousins like Beatrice is a key part of this transformation. Following Prince Harry's exit from royal duties and his move abroad, William is now working to bring some of the younger royals back into the fold. His vision aims to present a fresher, more modern image of the monarchy, and to show that it is not just a club of older individuals clinging to outdated traditions. The British monarchy has always been known for tradition, formality and structure, but as time changes quickly and public expectations grow more demanding, the royal family has faced increasing pressure to modernize. King Charles III, who took the throne after the passing of his mother Queen Elizabeth II, has found his reign marked by both personal and institutional challenges. Not long after his coronation, King Charles revealed he was battling cancer. This shocking announcement came just as the public was adjusting to the new era. Without the Queen, soon after, Princess Kate, wife of Prince William and future Queen, also shared her own cancer diagnosis. These two major health issues shook the public and caused unease, especially since the royal family is famously private and protective of their personal lives. That culture of secrecy which has long surrounded the royal family makes it difficult for the public to fully understand what is happening behind palace doors. The lack of transparency feeds rumors and fuels speculation. People are left guessing about how serious King Charles's illness is or what stage Princess Kate's treatment is. Coupled with the emotional fallout from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure, and the unresolved controversy around Prince Andrew, it's clear the monarchy is facing a difficult time. These internal issues have left the institution looking unsteady and uncertain, with King Charles's health issues, the Sussexes' departure, and the fading presence of older royals. It may fall to William and a younger group, including Beatrice, to keep the crown connected to the people. There is also a clear problem with age within the royal family. Without William and Kate leading the way, most of the visible members are older, and the absence of energetic younger royals is deeply felt. This gap has contributed to a slow but steady decline in public interest. People are no longer as captivated by royal appearances and ceremonies as they once were. In fact, many surveys suggest that the younger generation feels little connection to the monarchy, especially since it struggles to relate to their lives or concerns. To address this, William has started to push for a new image, one that is more relatable, youthful, and responsive to the needs of modern society. He wants to highlight service and relevance, not just ceremony and tradition. That means showing that the monarchy can still serve the public and adapt to changing times. It's no longer enough to wear crowns and attend formal events. The monarchy has to work harder to stay connected to the people, and Princess Beatrice fits into this new vision. Even though she has not traditionally taken on many royal duties, her background and status within the family give her a natural place in public life. With the number of active working royals shrinking, she may now be called upon more often. She, along with other cousins such as Princess Eugenie, Peter Phillips, and Zara Tyndall, has already appeared more frequently at events like garden parties, hinting that changes are slowly being made behind the scenes. This involvement might become regular if Prince William continues to widen the circle of those involved in public duties. At the same time, other national issues add pressure on the royal family. The country is dealing with high inflation, energy problems, and the war in Europe, along with the arrival of a new prime minister. These challenges demand strong, visible leadership, but with the monarchy going through its own internal crisis, it risks looking out of touch or disconnected. This is why some believe it would be wise to bring in more family members to support the monarchy, even if they weren't previously active in royal duties. Longtime royal observers believe that William would make a mistake by trying to keep the royal family too small. Instead, many suggest that he should do what Queen Elizabeth did during her reign. When she needed help, she often turned to her own cousins to share the load. That approach brought balance, strength, and a sense of unity. People knew the monarchy was more than just one or two faces. William could do the same now by drawing in Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie, Lady Louise Windsor, and the Earl of Wessex to help. As the royal family moves into this uncertain new era, everything is being tested: its stability, its image, and its purpose. To survive and remain meaningful, the monarchy must adapt to the needs of the present. By stepping forward now, they have a chance to shape a modern monarchy, one that still honors tradition but is alive, visible, and ready for the future.